day, they work very hard. But at the end of the day, they see other people going ahead of them. That next person, your team member, your seatmate, is the one getting the promotion, while you keep on watching that happen year after year. Some of you are here today, you are in that current situation, and I'll show you what you need to do to ensure that you shine, you show yourself, and you are able to project the skills and what you bring to the table so you start to get that promotion. And for some of you, you are currently stuck. You feel that you are stuck where you are. Okay, you are tired of watching others building global careers, and it seems like you always hear this or you see it on Instagram. People getting jobs, working remotely, living in Lagos, living in Abuja, living in Ado Ekiti, working remotely, but working for companies abroad. And you wonder how they do it. What skills do you need to have to get this done? And more importantly, where do you apply to these type of jobs and how do you apply? So by the end of today's session, I'll show you how to do 4 things. Number 1 is to identify the skills that enable you land the job within the space of 2 months, especially with regards to AI. And then we'll dive into learning the skills the right way. This is where a lot of people make mistakes. Or I'm going to watch YouTube to learn the skills. I have been there myself. 12 years ago, I was looking to transition. I made a lot of mistakes. The mistakes some of you here on this call still make today. All right. So what's the best way to learn? In a way that when you get that job, you know exactly what to do from day one. I'll walk you through that. I'll show you what to do. And of course, I'll also show you how to gain work experience. All right. And I'll ask a question before we move forward. If you want to get a job for a company in Canada, for example, and there are 2 candidates, yourself and somebody else competing for that job, you have Canadian work experience and that candidate does not have Canadian work experience. Who do you think would get that job a lot faster? You that have Canadian work experience or candidate B that doesn't have Canadian work experience? So type A or B. A, Canadian work experience. B, no Canadian work experience, but you want to get a job for a company in Canada. Who do you think would get that job? Type into the chat. I'd like to know your thoughts. Okay, Raphael says A, absolutely. Dosa says A. Oluwatosin says A. Oluwafumi says A. Ifoma says A, absolutely. It's easier for you to get that remote job when you can show that you work for an organization in that country, or you have worked for an organization in that country, because this is what it does for that company in Canada. It shows them that you understand the way they work, you understand their culture, you know, you would integrate a lot faster than somebody who doesn't have Canadian work experience. I'll show you how to gain that work experience. And finally, I'll show you how to start today. More importantly, after everything is said and done, Adeza, how do I start my journey today? In the next 1.5 hours, I'll show you exactly what you need to do to start today. So who are we? A lot of you are asking that question. What does Analytics do? What are you all about? And so on. Analytics is a leading educational technology company, and the focus for us is to help people like you to land high-paying jobs within the tech ecosystem. We operate out of Alberta in Canada and also London in the UK. So what this means, and I'm going to double down on this as we move on during our session today, what this means is your work experience with us, because when you join us, you don't join us as a student, you join us as a consultant, okay? You join us as a consultant, you join us as a contractor. So you use us as your work experience. So your work experience can come from Alberta, Canada, and can also come from London in the UK, because we operate out of these 2 locations. In the last 5 years, we've helped over 4,000 people like yourself who had no prior experience, no prior knowledge. We help them transition into the tech ecosystem to land their very first jobs. We have a total of about 182 full-time employees and access to over 300 industry experts whose mission is to ensure that you have a smooth sailing journey. You learn the right way, you know what to do, you know where to apply to jobs, and you are able to land those jobs. We help you in different areas, from generative AI for data analytics, AI automation, generative AI for the HR analyst, generative AI for the business analyst, project manager, and so on and so forth. I'm going to walk you through 3 key programs that you need to consider today. 3 key programs if you want to land a job in the next 2 months, in the next 8 weeks. What should you start doing today from day one? Ready, set, go. All right, and that's me right there. And that's the co-founder of Analytics right there, Efemena. Okay, and I'm going to introduce myself for those of you meeting me for the first time. My name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert with over a decade experience cutting across data analytics and management consulting. So like many of you here on the call today, my first degree was not in computer science. It was not in anything technology related. My first degree was in industrial chemistry. But I got out of the university, I got a job as a management consultant, but then I transitioned into data analytics. And over the last few years, my mission has been to help other people to make that same transition. And as the founder of Analytics and the co-founder of Amdari, I've been able to help over 4,000 people with no prior experience, no prior background. We've helped nurses, accountants, we've helped bankers, logistic officers, recent university graduates. We've helped them transition from no experience in tech into landing their very first jobs within the tech ecosystem. I've also currently worked as a data analytics and engineering contractor in Canada. I reside in Alberta, Canada. I've also worked as a data science consultant in the UK, worked for companies in the US while I was working remotely back in Nigeria. I've lived and I've worked in the UK, worked for companies remotely back in the US. I've worked as a data analyst with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. I've also worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, and FITC is owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. My experience spans across 5 different sectors, from sports to financial services, where I started my career, to educational technology, energy, and also automobile. And I'll be sharing my experience today as we move on. Okay, so there's no better person to tell you and to guide you on how to transition from where you are to a career in tech. I had no background, I had no experience. I studied industrial chemistry, but here I am. I've made the mistakes, I've gotten burnt, and I'm going to show you how you shouldn't make the same mistakes that I made that made it take time for me to transition. Okay, so let's get right into our first question of the day. And I love asking this question, and I'd like to know your thoughts. Will AI replace you or take your job? What do you think about this? Yes or no? Type in the chat. Do you think AI will take your job? Yes or no? Type into the chat. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Informa says no. So if you say AI would not take your job, then what do you think AI would do? Okay, Faith says no. Oluwatosi says no. Informa says it's a tool. Okay, it depends. Stanley. Raphael says no. Confidence says no, but you learn to work and upgrade yourself with it. Fantastic. I love that confidence. Heritage says no, it would enhance my performance in my job instead. Absolutely brilliant. I love the way, okay, somebody is saying yes, it will take your job. All right. Now, whenever I ask this question, I always get a mix of yeses and nos, but more of nos. Okay, and that's simply because AI would not take your job. I'm not worried about AI taking my job. Okay? AI is a tool. AI is going to help me become more efficient. Do you know who I'm worried about? Do you know who is dangerous in an organization? The person that is dangerous, that is likely going to take your job, is that person that knows how to use AI while you don't know how to use AI. Or that person that knows how to use AI far more than you or better than you, that's the person that's going to take your job. And of course, a very favorite quote from Jensen Huang, that's the CEO of NVIDIA, saying that you won't lose your job to AI. You would lose it to your coworker who uses it. You won't lose your job to AI. You would lose your job to that coworker who uses AI. That's the dangerous person you should be worried about. So by the end of this call today, do you know who you should be worried about? You should be worried about the people here who have either started their journey into learning AI, or they'll be starting their journey today into learning AI. Those are the people you should be worried about. If you're in HR, can you automate your onboarding process? Or do you always deal with forms and manual, details and so on and so forth? Can you automate your onboarding? Can you automate your talent sourcing, performance management, and so on, using different tools like N10, and so on and so forth? If you're a business analyst, if you're a project manager, can you analyze the risk inherent in the different tasks you're working on the project you currently have in progress? Can you present it using a tool like Power BI? Can you automate that report to send to all the different stakeholders responsible within that project? As a data analyst, how long does it take you to generate your reports? Do you still generate report manually? Does it take you 1 day, 24 hours, 48 hours to generate your report? Because you have to clean the data, prepare the data, and get that data ready. And for those of you starting to look at, I want to get a job, I want to land a job either in Nigeria, I want to land a job somewhere in Africa, or I want to get a remote job for a company in Canada. And the reason why I'm specifying Canada is because I am in Canada, for example, and I know how you can get opportunities in Canada working remotely from Lagos, Nigeria, doing amazing stuff, from Akure, from wherever you are in Africa, and how to get those opportunities. And we've helped hundreds of people just like you working remotely back home. So if you want to get these jobs, what do you need to do? What skills do you need to learn? How do you tap into AI? Okay, so for all the things I'll be sharing with you today, I've kept a link to this article. So any link, if you click on that link, for example, it's going to take you to this particular article where you can read, you can get to see what the CEO of NVIDIA said. I'm just going to cancel this. Okay, you can even listen to the article. If I play this, you'd hear what he said, speaking carefully, that you need to be wary, you need to be scared, you need to be worried about that co-worker, worried and scared of that co-worker that knows how to use AI, because that's the person that'll take your job. So for you to get my slide at the end of today's session, make sure you fill the attendance and you stay till the end of the session. That's where you get my slide. Okay, I'm going to walk you through somebody who did it, because the question is always, and I would like to see somebody that has done this before. I'd like to see somebody that has learned AI, learned how to use AI to become more efficient. A lot of you said that, and I love it. Okay, Favor says, I believe it's a magnifier if utilized well. All right, Heritage says it would enhance my performance in my job. So who has learned AI to enhance their performance, and they've been able to land jobs, not within Nigeria, but land jobs working remotely from Nigeria, working for companies abroad? And I'm going to share the story of Olusegun. Olusegun lives in Lagos, Nigeria. Olusegun worked for a logistic company as an operations manager in Lagos, Nigeria. He has a background in finance. So what did Olusegun do? Olusegun wanted to get a remote job. Okay, with all the things going on in Nigeria, it doesn't hurt to have extra money coming from somewhere where you get to work on projects, you get paid a few $1,000s, and you are living the life. You are earning in dollars and spending in naira. So what did Olusegun do? He joined one of our AI programs, AI automation engineering, in November 2025. Okay, so take note of the timeline. He joined November 2025 and he completed his program in January 2026. So 2 months after, November, December, January, he completed the program. The same month he completed his program, he landed a job with a company in Canada as an AI automation engineer. He completed the program in January. He landed a job in January 2026. He worked on a contract for this company for 4 months from January to April, helping them automate their processes, automate certain things that relate to customer acquisition and how the customer is onboarded until the customer is offboarded. He did this for 4 months. By doing this particular project with this company in Canada, or for this company in Canada, he was able to gather enough money to set up his own consulting company in April this year. So what Olusegun does today is he has his own company while still doing his 9 to 5, and he helps other companies to do what? Automate their processes. And it took him just about 3 months to accomplish all of this. Okay, and this is a screenshot of Olusegun's LinkedIn. We're going to go to his LinkedIn profile live and we'll see how Olusegun was able to achieve this. So Olusegun got a job as an AI automation engineer in Alberta, Canada, working remotely from Lagos, Nigeria. And in April this year, he founded his own company, founder CEO, Luxeron AI Studio. Okay, now what I'm going to do for you is I want you to listen. I'm going to listen to Olusegun yourself. You get to hear how he was able to do this, what he did, how AI made him more efficient. And for organizations today, there are two things every business wants to do. They want to increase revenue or reduce losses. And most of the time, they want to do both, increase revenue and reduce losses. One of the ways to reduce losses is to become more efficient, doing things faster. Something that takes 1 hour, you can do it in 10 minutes. Something that takes 24 hours, 1 full day, you can do it in 5 minutes. That's efficiency. It means you can do work a lot better, you can complete work a lot faster and take in more work. And that's how you make more money. All right. So I'll show you what Olusegun did, how he got the level of skills that he got, and how he was able to land his job eventually. But before we do that, let's go to Olusegun's LinkedIn profile, because I said I was going to share that with you. Okay. Remember, fill the attendance form if you want to receive all the materials today. Fill the attendance form so you don't miss out on anything. Okay, so let's go to LinkedIn very quickly. And I'm going to go to Olusegun's profile, Olusegun. So now he has on his title, founder CEO. That's interesting. Isn't that amazing? For somebody who was an employee in 2025, but because he decided to upskill. So if you go to Olusegun's profile, one of the first things you would see is, I'll take you to where he completed his program, all right? So he studied accounting, BSc accounting, master's in accounting. So it's not like he studied computer science or anything like that. No. Olusegun joined our AI automation engineering, completed it in January 2026. The same month he completed that program, he got a job as an AI automation engineer, technical assistant for a company in Canada, working remotely. 4 months after, he set up his own company as the founder CEO, Luxeron AI Studio. Okay, so I'll tell you exactly what he did, step by step, 5 steps that he took, and how you can also take the 5 steps. And in the next couple of months, you are competing for jobs with companies abroad. And I'll tell you why organizations abroad are looking for you back home. Okay, I hire a lot of people from Nigeria, both in my companies and also to recommend to other people, refer to other companies, other founders and co-founders here in Canada. And it's very simple. And I'll tell you one story before I play Olusegun's video. I met a lady sometime in 2024. She owns a business in the medical space. Long story short, she wanted to build a website, right? She had gotten a developer, and the developer had quoted $15,000 to build a very simple website. The website is simply just meant to help customers create a profile, have the ability to download the app, and so on and so forth. Okay. And this web developer was going to collect $15,000. Of course, he's in Canada. He was charging based on where he lives and so on and so forth. And we're having a conversation, and she was complaining to me that Adaiza, I'm not very happy with this person. This is what he's charging, and he's still taking a lot of time to get the job done. I have to chase him around and so on. And I said, how much are you paying? And she told me $15,000. And I said, okay, this is ridiculous. I know somebody that will do this for you at least 50% of this amount, and you will get a far better quality job done. And you know what happened? All I needed to do was to reach out to somebody I know in Nigeria. I told him about the project and was very happy to jump on the project for $7,500. That's 7.5 million. And I can tell you for free that the website this guy built would cost nothing less than, the maximum it would cost would be maybe 1 million or 1.5 or 1.2. But he got $7,500 for this particular project. He completed the project. The owner of the project was happy. The person that built the project, that built that website, was happy because he made a lot of money. And this is how businesses here in Canada are looking for professionals like you that have the skills, that have the experience to do the job for them and get the job done with the best quality possible. Okay, so we're going to listen to Olusegun very quickly, and I'll tell you exactly what he did and how he was able to land the job that he got and how you can also do the same. All right, so I want you to sit back, relax, enjoy Olusegun's story. Okay, just for 2 minutes, and then I'll come back and walk you through step by step all the things he did in order to land the job. I'll play the video for 1 second, and I want to know if you can hear the audio. You give me a thumbs up, and then I continue playing.
Hi everyone.
If you heard Olusegun, give me the thumbs up. All right, fantastic. So let's hear Olusegun, and I'll come back to tell you what Olusegun did.
Hi everyone, my name is Olusegun Agbalade, and if anyone had actually told me a year ago that I'll be working in tech, building AI automations, I honestly would have actually laughed it out. I started my career in accounting with zero tech background. I had curiosities, I had a lot of self-doubt, but I had this constant feeling that I wanted more. So, and for wanting more will not actually get me there. So I told myself that I needed a structure, I needed guidance, and I needed a clear path in which the analytics business gave to me. Over 11 months, I moved from data analysis to data science, and now AI automation engineering. It wasn't pretty, to be sincere, it wasn't pretty. There were days I felt behind, there were days I wanted to quit. But with the guidance of my tutor, great tutor, Abdullah Musa, I kept showing up. I kept building projects, and I shared most of those projects on LinkedIn. That changed everything. LinkedIn became my proof of work. It became my portfolio. It became my voice. People could actually see on my profile what I was building, not just read on my CV what I was building. Eventually, it paid off. I landed a tech role not by luck, but by skills that I've gathered over time. So if you're actually watching this and you feel stuck, hear me clearly. Don't give up. Growth is slow before it's visible. Stay consistent because it works. Thank you, the analytics business, for granting me that platform to scale high. Thank you very much.
So that's Olusegun doing the amazing stuff. Growth is slow before it becomes visible. I really like that. That's truly impressive. What did Olusegun do to help him land this remote job in Canada? I'll walk you through the steps one after the other. Now, if you have any distractions, I want you to take away all distractions. Have a notepad, have a pen, so you can jot things down, so you can take things away from this session today. My colleague Zuleyhat is posting the link in the chat for the attendance. For those asking, how can I fill the attendance? So if you want to fill the attendance, just go to the chat, look for that link, click on it, fill the attendance. All right. Now, the first thing Olusegun did was he learned a high demand skill that is eligible for remote job opportunities. So there are lots of people today saying, I want to get a remote job. I want to work remotely. I want to earn in dollars. I want to earn in pounds. I want to do this and do that. However, you don't have the skills to compete for the type of jobs that would enable you to work remotely. When you get the high demand skills that employers are looking for, you make getting the job at least 10 times easier. Because what you've done is simply to key into an area where employers are actively searching for you. AI is everywhere today. Every day in the news, you hear something about AI. All right. Organizations want to be more efficient. Everybody wants to key into AI. And you having the skills to do stuff for them, you place yourself at a position where getting that job becomes 10 times easier because organizations are looking for you. Okay, so that's number one. And what are the skills you need to learn? First of all, generative AI for the data analysts. And when it comes to the level of skills, there are 7 key learning areas apart from the tools and technologies you need to learn. So first of all, you learn the foundations of data and generative AI for analytics. You move into Microsoft Excel using Copilot and AI assisted analysis. So you're not learning Excel the way other people learned Excel. You are using Copilots, you are using AI embedded tools to use Excel more efficiently. So that thing that will take your coworker one day to complete on Excel, they are doing data cleaning for a full day, for a full week. You are doing it in 10 minutes and you are a superstar. You're getting work done a lot faster. You start to get noticed in that office or in the workplace. You also learn how to use Power BI to build amazing dashboards and how to use Power BI utilizing Copilot. Okay, automating the process of developing your dashboard, your report, automating how the report gets sent to the different stakeholders and so on. Enterprise AI analytics and development. You learn the modern AI tools for the data analysts like Julius AI, Bricks AI, N10, Copilot, and so on. Microsoft Fabric as well. Microsoft Fabric helps you bring everything together into one single environment. And it also helps with your automation from your data sourcing to transformation, extraction, transformation, loading, reporting, and so on and so forth. All right, you have building AI, how to build the AI data analyst, what you need for your AI automation as a data analyst. And of course, you have the AI analytics hackathon. We have a hackathon coming up this month in June. And for those who are already part of the program, you get to participate in the hackathon. The hackathon is where you complete a capstone project, you present this project as evidence that you've done the job. And then you have the generative AI for the business analyst and the project manager. For those of you that want to get into business analysis or project management, you want to manage projects today, but you don't have to do everything manual. You don't manage projects using tools like Microsoft Project anymore. Somebody asked me the other day that, oh, do I need to learn Microsoft Project? Why on earth would you learn Microsoft Project in 2026 when you have tools like ClickUp, you have tools like Notion, and you have tools like Jira that helps you track project deliverables? And these are tools that have AI embedded in them, where all your tasks, your project responsibilities, and so on You can simply type a prompt to say, I want you to analyze all the different risks across the different tasks in this project. Create a dashboard that I can present to management. And within a few minutes, you have your dashboard ready with all the inherent risk and so on and so forth. That's the project manager of 2026. Okay, so you learn foundations for the AI-driven business analyst, project management, project initiation, and business case development with generative AI tools, how to use Copilot to do a whole lot of these things as well. You'd learn agile execution and delivery with AI. You get to learn process modeling and your workflow design using tools like MyMap AI, and also, of course, Draw.io and ChatGPT. You get to learn how to automate and monitor projects with AI, and of course, you get your capstone project as well. And the third program I'll be introducing to you today, the third and the final, is generative AI for the HR analyst. So there are so many HR analysts today, and all they're focused on is doing the manual work with Excel, sending Google Sheets to different, you have like 1 million Google Sheets, and at the end of the day, there is no way to bring all the reports together. So one of the first things you learn how to do as a HR analyst is generating automated reports from the data you have, the people data, the HR data you have, and you are doing this a lot faster. So foundation of the data and generative AI for analytics, because as a HR professional, you are a data analyst. The only difference between you and the data analyst is your focus is on people data, HR data. Okay, you'd learn Microsoft Excel, Copilot, just like the data analyst, Power BI, but then you learn how to automate your AI, your reports using AI and deploy those reports. You'd learn how to use the different AI tools relevant for the HR analyst. And of course, you also learn AI automation, building the AI HR analyst. And of course, you participate in the hackathon as well. So the hackathon coming up this month, you get to see people building projects, presenting what they've done, the automation they've been able to achieve. Something that would ordinarily take 1 week, you can do it within the space of 30 minutes. And they get to present what they've done, and that shows you that you have the skills to compete for the type of jobs that employers are looking for. And this was what Segun did, Olusegun, that got him the job. He learned these skills. As a generative AI analyst, you know how to use NA10, you know how to use Bricks AI. We're going to use Bricks AI in today's session, and you'll see how it works. You know how to use Copilot. You get work done a lot faster compared to your counterpart. So remember the question we asked at the beginning, which is, will AI take your job or will AI replace you? Absolutely not. But you see this person that have these skills, they are the ones that would replace you, not AI. All right, and that's why it's important that you start to build, you start to upskill, you look for the area where you want to key into and start your journey into AI upskilling. All right, and we're going to do something practical today, and you'll see how it works. When it comes to the structure, how did Olusegun learn? Okay, what did he do? Okay, he knew the skills to learn. How did he learn? Every Saturdays, you have a live class. And the live class is where you have a professional like me, like other professionals who would work with you. You solve problems together. You can raise your hand and say, hey, I have a question, and somebody responds to you. And every other day, you are on the LMS, the learning management system, because we know that so many of you have 9-to-5s. You are, you work in the corporate environment, but all you need is one live class on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And your other sessions, you get to watch those videos any day, anytime, anywhere, between Sunday to Friday, ahead of the next class on Saturday. And what you need to dedicate is just 8 weeks, 2 months, 6 weeks learning, 2 weeks for your capstone project and your hackathon. All right. So This is what Olusegun did. The first strategy, which is get high demand skills that employers are looking for. That's number one. When you do this, you make the job 10 times faster to learn. You make the job 10 times faster to get. I beg your pardon. So we're going to do a very quick exercise using Bricks AI and Notebook LLM. Notebook LM. Okay? Bricks AI and Notebook LM. So what will happen is I'm going to get a data set, a medical record from a hospital, and would use that data, use Bricks AI to analyze and create a dashboard. Okay, create a dashboard, and would use Notebook LM to do what? Create our presentation. Okay, so you want to present this to management, the hospital management at the end of the day, or you want to present this to your line manager, your CMSO, your CMO, your COO. After creating your dashboard, how can you make your presentation? Okay, so we're going to do something very quickly. Normally, I worked with, in the year 2020, I got a job with Sahara Power Group, one of the largest privately owned power generating company in Nigeria, in West Africa, not even in Nigeria, sub-Saharan Africa. Okay. I worked as an MIS analyst, Management Information Systems Analyst. My responsibility was getting data from 3 companies: Ikeja Electric, for those of you that know Ikeja Electric, Egbin Power PLC, and also FIPL. FIPL is somewhere in Port Harcourt, for those of you in Rivers State, for those of you that know FIPL. 3 major companies. My role was to get data, analyze these data, and present to the management, the owners of the company. Okay? We used to take 1 week, myself and my colleagues. It would take us 1 week to analyze all the, because these are massive organizations, massive companies. For those of you that know Ikeja Electric, for example, about 8,000 employees across board. Egbin Power PLC, massive company as well. So the data generated is absolutely massive. It used to take us about 1 week to present, analyze the data, make sure everything is ready, have conversations and present to the owners and the management, the owners of the company. Utilizing tools like Bricks, Notebook LM, and so many other tools, that reporting that took 1 week would take nothing less than maybe 1 hour at the maximum. And that's the efficiency. And I'll show you how this plays out practically using Bricks AI and Notebook LM. Okay, so we're going to test the power of these 2 amazing tools in the next 10 minutes, and then I'll take you through the other 4 strategies that Olusegun had to implement in order to get that job. So number 1 was he got into a high demand career path. He learned high demand skills that employers were searching for. Okay, so let's go to Bricks. I'll just go to my browser and I'll type in Bricks. Okay, Bricks AI. So type Bricks AI. If you type Bricks AI, it's going to come, you'll see that in your, as one of the list of results. You can see that right there, bricks.com. Okay, so I'm going to copy the link and paste it for those of you that want to maybe test out something. So I'll open this up. Okay, I'd copy the link, I'd post it in the chat. So you can copy that and put it somewhere. So what I want you to do, so you pay attention, is this. See what I'm going to work out, see what I'm going to complete. And at the end of the day, you can all go back and do the same thing if you understand what I'm doing. All right, so I go to Bricks. Let me maximize this so you can see my screen better. So let me log in. Okay, continue with Google. I'm not sure I can remember my password, but I'll just continue with Google. Log in. You can log in, you can sign up. That's something you can do. So when you do this, whenever you generate anything, you'd always see that it's always going to be there. All right. So what am I going to do now? I'll take a data set and I'll upload it into Bricks AI. But before I upload my data set into Bricks AI, I want us to look at the data we'll be working with. We'll be working with a hospital, a medical organization with hospital records. Now, this hospital is a mid-sized hospital, and they currently have a problem. They have ICU congestion. The intensive care unit is congested, too many patients. And because they have too many patients in ICU, they have bed shortages and rising inpatient costs. Okay, now to improve this, to find a solution to this problem and to improve the bed utilization, patient flow, so patient can come in faster, they can move out faster, get discharged by getting the proper care on time, and to also reduce costs. The leadership of the hospital wants to know how the length of stay varies by medical condition, by the department, and by the bed type. And what does this simply mean? The hospital management wants to know how long will a patient stay based on their medical condition. So somebody who has, let's say, a broken leg, somebody who has a headache, somebody who has, appendicitis, and so on and so forth. How does this affect how long they stay in the hospital? They also want to know the department. Does patients in the orthopedic department stay longer than patients in pediatrics? And which bed type leads to long length of stay? So these are the questions the hospital management wants to answer. Okay, so which medical condition has the longest length of stay? Which department has the longest length of stay? And what type of beds have the longest length of stay? And this is what the data looks like, a screenshot of the data. And I want you to attempt to answer this question. Somebody's typing orthopedic. You've been in this, you attended this session last week, Martins. But let's take it again. All right, so you have the admission dates, the discharge dates, and here you have the length of stay. This is what the data looks like, okay? A snapshot of the data itself. Now, let's try to attempt the first question, and I want you to type into the chat. Feel free to make mistakes, okay? Let me know what you think. Looking at the data, tell me what you think. Now, between the admission date and the discharge date, we can identify the length of stay, how long the patient stayed in the hospital. So which medical condition has the longest length of stay? You have your medical condition right here, okay? So type into the chat, which medical condition has the longest length of stay? I'd like to know your thoughts. Type into the chat, let me know what you think. Which medical condition has the longest length of stay? Confidence says cancer. Martin says orthopedic. At least we've seen two different answers, okay? Joyce says stroke. Dosa says heart disease. Mr. Dio says heart disease. Prosper says heart disease. Let's get more feedback, okay? Faith says heart disease. Let's get more. Medical condition. Okay, so we have a lot of heart disease, and then we have orthopedic, we have cancer, we have stroke. Fine, that's good. Now let's answer question number 2. Question number 2 is, which department has the longest length of stay? So which department has the longest length of stay? Department this time around. So type the department that has the longest length of stay. Just type into the chat. Cardiology from Dosa, cardiology from Prosper. Okay, let's get more feedback. Cardiology, let's get more, and let's see if you are right at the end of the day. And like I said, feel free to make mistakes. Everybody's selecting cardiology. You're all copying Dosa because you think Dosa is correct. Dosa has changed his answer. He has changed it to emergency, not cardiology anymore. So let's get more feedback. Cardiology, emergency. Interesting. Okay, now let's answer the final question. Stanley says orthopedic. All right, interesting. Orthopedics. Now let's try the final question, which is, What type of beds have the longest length of stay? What type of beds have the longest length of stay? Type into the chat. What type of beds have the longest length of stay? Type into the chat. I'd like to know your thoughts. So what we're going to do is simple. We're going to go into bricks, and bricks would help us analyze within the space of less than 5 minutes, and would get the exact correct answer. Okay, so Faith says ICU. The length of stay, ICU. Or what type of beds have the longest length of stay? ICU. Mr. Dayo says general ward. General ward. Stanley says general. So we have ICU, we have general. Good. So 2 different answers. Okay, that's fine. I just need to have 2 different answers. Now, what we've done is simple. We have given our answers based on what we think with the data that we can see right in front of us. Okay, you don't need to go through this data manually. If you have the right skills, you have the right tools, and you know exactly what to do. All you have to do is feed the data into a tool, and it gets you the reports in less than 5 minutes. And this is where you have to learn how to use the tool, which is what I'll be teaching you today. Okay, do this in 5 minutes. All right, so let's go to Bricks AI. So remember, we opened up Bricks. So what I'm going to do is I'll get my data sets into Bricks. The data set that I showed you, I'm going to upload it into Bricks. And again, I just want to mention this as a caveat. That's hospital records. That does not, all the data have been codified due to data privacy in a way that you can't tie any particular data set to an individual or to a particular hospital and so on and so forth. Okay, I just wanted to mention that. And these are some of the things we also teach you during the program when working with data because of data privacy. The GDPR in the US, you have data privacy regulations for the medical space like HIPAA, and in Canada you have PHIPA, PHIPPA. Okay, so that's also something that is important. All right, so I'm going to attach the file. Click on that, attach file, and I'll go to where I have my data sets, hospital data sets, hospital data sets. Okay, so I come right here and I click on open. So I want to attach the file, and I would enter a prompt. And the prompt I want to enter is what I want Bricks AI to do for me. And I'll simply type generate. I want Bricks AI to generate an interactive dashboard answering these 3 questions. Remember, we had 3 questions. Okay, answering these 3 questions. So all I'll simply do is I'll copy those 3 questions and I'll paste it here in Bricks. Okay, so let's go back. I'll go back to my slide and I'll just copy and paste. Okay, I'll copy the 3 questions. And I'll paste it right here. Okay, so question 1, which medical condition has the longest length of stay? Which department has the longest length of stay? And what type of beds? And I'll simply click on create dashboard. At the moment you click on create dashboard, you start to see Bricks doing its magic. Preparing data, planning layouts, creating blocks, generating insights, generating summary, finalizing dashboard. And we're just going to wait for it. It's not going to take more than 2 minutes. And the type of report it will generate for you. Remember, I talked about in one of my previous roles in the year 2020, it used to take us about 1 week to put our reports together, from getting the data to cleaning the data to analyzing, creating our reports, creating our charts and the dashboards and so on, and summarizing the report in a way that it will be easy for the owners of the business, because the owners of the business don't care what did you use to create this report. They don't care about that. What they want to know is what is going on in the business, where are the areas where we have issues, how are we solving these issues, and what is likely going to happen in the business going forward. And as an analyst, what are your recommendations? Right? So, and this is what Bricks AI will do for us. Rather than taking 1 week, this is going to take us just what? 2 minutes. So we'd wait for it to complete. It's currently creating the blocks. Once it's done creating the blocks, it will generate insights. So it's done creating blocks, generate insights, generate summary, and so on. Okay, so it's asking me to pay. We don't need to pay anything for now. So you can use, I still have free, some free messages left. I don't need to pay for now. So it's done generating, and I can see exactly what I have. Okay. I think I ran out of credits before it finished. Okay, I ran out of credit before it finished, but that's not a problem. We are smarter than Bricks. So what I'm going to do, because I've used this so many times, I'll use a different email. Okay, for the purpose of showing, I have a paid subscription, but I don't want to use the paid subscription. I want you to see how it plays out when you go test it yourself later this evening. All right, so I'm just simply going to create a free account. So when you create a free account, you get to see the exact same thing I'll be showing you today. Okay, so let's open up Bricks right here, and I'll do exactly the same thing that I did earlier. Okay, I'll do it the exact same thing I did earlier. So attach my file. Let's go attach the file again. Open up the file. I'll go copy the previous prompt so I don't have to copy it again. Okay, so I'll copy it from here. I'll go to my new Bricks and I'll paste. Okay, generate an interactive dashboard, create dashboard, and this time around, it will do the exact same thing. The only difference now is I'm not going to run out of credits with this new account. And just like I mentioned earlier, this gets done in about 2 minutes for something that takes significantly longer. If you were to do this yourself using Power BI or Excel or Tableau or Looker Studio or any other tool, it will take you so long. But this takes you just 2 minutes, and you'd see the magic at the end of the day. So while this is generating, if you haven't filled the attendance form, this would be the perfect time for you to do that, so you don't miss out on anything I'll share with you at the end of today's session. Okay, so make sure you fill the attendance so you get everything I'll be sharing with you at the end of today's session. And this was the exact same thing Olusegun was able to do. He knew how to do things faster than other people. And when he got into interview, the interview that got him the job, he got that interview first of all because he had a portfolio of evidence of the different projects he had completed with AI. And he got an opportunity to interview with the company, and they were impressed by the type of AI tools he knew how to use. And of course, he got that job, got on the project for 4 months, and he was able to make very good money. All right, and he went ahead to set up his own business. So let's see what this comes up with. We can see some of the reports already, and we're going to answer the same questions we attempted earlier, and you all had different opinions on what the answer should be. But this would give us the exact correct answer, and we have a report we can showcase to management who has requested for these questions to be answered. All right, so it's generating our summary. Now we have a summary because we'd use this summary in Notebook LM. Okay, we're going to use this summary in Notebook LM. So I'm just going to do this is because I created this new account. It's asking for all. Okay, yeah. All right, so it's called Bricks AI. Just type Bricks AI, on your Google Chrome, and then you get that. So we're going to use these insights on our Notebook LM for our presentation. But now let's answer the same questions I asked you earlier. Okay, and the first one is, let me look for the first question. All right. Which medical condition has the longest length of stay? Which medical condition? Some of you said stroke, some said heart disease, some said severe trauma. But now I want you to type into the chart, which medical condition has the longest length of stay? This chart right here, right in front of you. So type what you can see on the screen. Which medical condition has the longest length of stay? Type into the chart. Cancer. Brilliant. Go ahead. Cancer, tumor. So it's showing the maximum. This is the maximum length of stay. Maximum length of stay. You can also see the average length of stay. Okay, the average length of stay. So we see we have the average length of stay. If not, we can use that, and you can see the length of stay, the maximum length of stay based on medical condition. You have cancer and you have tumor. Okay, one thing you want to do is to go ahead and do the average length of stay. So this shows us the maximum. We can also type into this chart and say, also show me or add another chart where I see the average length of stay based on the medical condition. Now let's go to the second insight, which is the longest length of stay by department. Which department has the longest length of stay? I asked this question earlier. Some said cardiology. I think it was Dosa that said cardiology. He later changed it to orthopedics. Okay, and some of you said you had other things to say, but I want you to type into the chart which department has the longest length of stay. Oncology. Thanks, Kende. Let's get more feedback. Merit says oncology. Now we are all on the same page, right? Faith says oncology. Oluwatosin, Joyce, oncology. Absolutely phenomenal. Now we are on the same page. We can see clearly that oncology has the maximum length of stay. Okay, now let's look at the last one, which is the type of beds. So what type of beds have the longest length of stay? So this is giving us the maximum. So I'm going to come here and type, okay, give me the average length of stay by type of hospital beds. Okay, so I want to see the average, not the maximum. So I can come in here and type. Before I do that, because I don't want this to disappear, I'm going to copy this. I need it later for the insights I want to show you. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'll put it somewhere. And we're going to come back to that. Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll use it in our notebook LM. So I'm just going to copy that. I would also copy the overview. I'll copy the overview, and I would also copy the insights. I don't want to lose it if I type in another prompt. So that's why I copied. So now I want it to show me the average, and I'll hit enter, and it's going to go ahead to analyze again. Okay, I'm going to add a table to the dashboard that calculates the average length of stay. And you can see that you have a table that has calculated the average length of stay. Average length of stay. So looking at what you can see on my screen, my question is, what is the average length of stay based on the type of beds? Average length of stay based on the type of beds. So let me know what you can see. Private room, fantastic, Gideon. Gideon, you have a very good eye of identifying things. Is a private room. Oluwatosin, Faith, private room. Private room has an average length of stay of 6.3 days. All right, brilliant. So you can see that all I needed to do was to type another prompt, and it generated this for me. I can convert this into a chart. I can convert my table into a chart, and it shows as a chart. All right. So what I want to do now is I can go ahead and present this, or I can present using another AI tool called Notebook LM. And that's what we'll use for the purpose of our presentation. We want to tell a story to management of what we have seen based on the length of stay by department, the length of stay by medical condition, and the length of stay by the different bed types. So we're going to make that presentation to the hospital management. And this is what I'm going to do. So I've copied my overview, I've copied my overall insights, right? And I'll take them to Notebook LM. Again, for those of you that have never used Notebook LM, all you need to do is type it, Notebook LM. Okay, Notebook LM. Just type it in and you'll see it pop up. It's a Google app that helps you generate presentations using AI. Okay, so that's Notebook LM. It does a lot of things, not just presentation, but today we are using it for presentation. So type Notebook LM and you have Notebook LM pop up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'll open up Notebook LM, or if you open up your Google apps right here, you'd see Notebook LM somewhere at the bottom. You can also click on that, or you can just click on what you've searched. And then I'm going to create a new notebook. I'll create a new notebook. And what do I want to do? I want to drop in a text, copied text. So you see what I've copied from my previous, I've copied the header, I've copied the overview, the overall insights, I've copied everything. I come to my Notebook LM and I want to paste it as a text. So I click on copied text and I'll paste my text right here. So I'll copy everything from my Bricks AI and I'll paste them right here. Copy everything from Bricks AI and paste. And you can see your overview right here. You can see your overall insights also, and I'll simply click on insert. And the moment I do that, Notebook LM would first of all summarize what I have posted. Okay, to summarize what I have posted. And what next? I want to create a slide deck. So at the right-hand corner, you'd see where you have slide deck. Let me maximize this a bit. You'd see where you have slide deck. So I'm going to click on slide deck. What do I want? I want presenter slides. You can use a detailed deck depending on what you want to do. But just for the purpose of time, I'll click on presenter slides and I'll simply click on what? Generate. Okay, this takes about 5 minutes to come up. So we're not going to wait. We'll let Notebook LM cook. And then we'll come back and see what we have from Notebook LM in terms of what we want to report to management. And at the end of the day, the entire task would have taken us about 10, 15 minutes for something that ordinarily would take about 1 hour, 2 hours to get completed. Okay, so we're going to let Notebook LM cook. I'll come back in the next 10 minutes and would see exactly what Notebook LM has given to us. If you are excited by what you've seen with what Bricks AI gave to us initially, the longest length of stay, you can see the key insights. Oncology shows a clear outlier, maximum length of stay of 20 days, double more than most of other departments. Give me a thumbs up. So you don't need to have created this yourself. All you need is feed it into Bricks. Bricks will do the magic. You have your insight, you have everything. You now want to do a detailed presentation to management. Copy your insights, copy the overview, paste on Notebook LM, and we're going to wait until Notebook LM is done and you'd see exactly what it comes up with. Now, this is work that if any organization gives to you, they expect you to submit it the following day, but you can do it in 15 minutes. And this is where you see people who work remotely. They seem to have so much time on their hands, but at the same time, they are earning a lot of money. And this is how they get it done. Okay, so if you give me this type of work, I'll tell you that, okay, I'll deliver it tomorrow. When do you want me to deliver? Tomorrow, the day after. I know it's going to take me 15 minutes. I know it's going to take me 10 minutes because I know the right set of skills, the right set of tools to deploy. And that's exactly what Olusegun did. And that was why he got the job. All right, we're still going to come back to this and I'll show you the presentation side of things. But taking you to the second thing Olusegun did, apart from learning the skills required, Olusegun also did what? He learned the skills the right way. A lot of people learn the skills the wrong way. I did that myself at some point where I watch videos, I tried to watch videos and practice, and that was all I was doing. When you do that, you find yourself in a situation where on day one, when they give you that task to complete, you don't know what to do because you haven't solved that type of problem before. So how did Olusegun learn? How did he know the best way to learn so that on day one, he knew how to do the job? He did two things, and these are the two things we showed him how to do. Number one is to learn in a project-based environment. And what does this mean? It means learning by doing the real work. If you want to become an AI data analyst, you must know how to do the work of an AI data analyst. If you want to work as an AI business analyst, AI project manager, and so on and so forth, you must do the work. You must work on real world projects, not generic projects, generic data that you got from Kaggle and different other platforms. You work with real world data. And that's what we do. We get you those data sets, you work on those data sets, and what next? You must showcase your work in a portfolio. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. If you listen to Olusegun, he mentioned that one of the things that made a difference for him was his LinkedIn. He used his LinkedIn profile to document his journey. So if you go to his LinkedIn profile, you can see clearly all the projects he had completed. That is evidence that you've done the job. Evidence that you've done the job. So when anybody asks you, what's the best way to learn? The best way to learn is to learn in a project-based environment. You want to become a footballer. You don't become a footballer by analyzing football on the TV. You become a footballer by playing football matches on the pitch. You get tackled, you get injured, you practice your free kicks, you practice your corner kicks, you make mistakes, the coach would shout on you. That's how you become a footballer. If you want to become an AI data analyst, you must do the work of an AI data analyst. And that's what you do every Saturday in your live classes. You work on projects, you build those projects, and nobody cares about you. Nobody knows who you are. Nobody wants to know what you can do, but everybody wants to see what you have done. And that's why you must have somewhere that you put those projects. And we call that a portfolio. I'll show you what a portfolio looks like in real time. Okay, so you work on multiple projects, about 10 to 15 projects. And when you complete these projects, you add them to your portfolio. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through this practically. I'll show you what learning in a project-based environment, what it looks like, and how you upload these projects into your portfolio. Okay, and that's strategy number 2. Let's go to one of the classrooms, and I'm going to show you the classroom and how you get to work on projects in a project-based environment. So this is a classroom for generative AI for data analytics and HR. Okay, when you are learning how to pivot your data pivots, you don't learn by just watching videos. I'll show you what your class material looks like. So you have your class material, and then you have a case study. There's always a case study. The case study is for a real university where you're helping them analyze student performance. A real university, the data has been trained, like I mentioned, for data privacy and so on and so forth. But you work on these projects together with your facilitator in class. And when you complete this project, you upload it into your portfolio. I'll show you what the live classroom looks like. So this is what your project looks like. You work on this project in class on Saturdays. And then you have, if you miss this class for any reason, or you want to come back to watch what happened, you can always come back to watch the live class. Okay. So this is what the live class looks like. You work with your facilitator. This is Pius. You look at the data together. And just like what I've done today, which is just in 15 minutes, you spend 3 hours from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. solving problems on Saturdays. And when you solve these problems using different tools, using different AI, technologies, you complete this project. What do? You upload them to your portfolio. And I'm going to show you what a portfolio looks like. So any day, anytime, you can always come back and you watch your class recording and you don't miss out on anything. Okay. And the third strategy you want to take note of that Olusegun also implemented when he got the high demand skills, number one. Number two, he learns the right way by learning in a project-based environment and also building a portfolio to show the whole world, this is what I can do and this is what I've built. The third strategy was to gain foreign work experience. Gain what? Foreign work experience. And what does foreign work experience means? Foreign work experience means you working for an organization in that country where you want to get a job. I asked the question at the beginning. You have candidate A and candidate B. Candidate A has Canadian work experience. Candidate B, no Canadian work experience. Who do you choose? Candidate A. So how do you gain foreign work experience? And how did Olusegun gain foreign work experience? Very simple. Analytics is registered in Alberta, Canada, and also registered in London, in the UK. What does this mean? Whenever you've joined Analytics, the Analytics business, and you've worked on your projects, you built your portfolio and so on your CV, you list Analytics as part of the organizations that you've worked with, as a contractor, as a consultant, and you list it right there. AI data analyst, AI project manager, AI business analyst with Analytics. And any organization that sees that will know that, okay, you currently work with this business, we work with this organization in Canada, which means you know how it works, you know our work culture, and so you'd integrate a lot faster. And that's how Olusegun gained his foreign work experience. So your experience, you gain them through the project to complete in class. And you have evidence to showcase everything you've done. And I'll show you what the portfolio looks like in the next 2 seconds. If you click on this link, it takes you to a portfolio. You can see the project this particular person has built. This is a project for a logistic company, Translogics Africa, where he helped analyze their shipment operations and so on and so forth. This was also built using Power BI, embedded with AI. And the beauty about this is when a recruiter gets the link, because the link to your portfolio will be on your CV and also on your LinkedIn profile. So when they get your CV, they click on your portfolio, it takes them here, the exact same thing I'm seeing. And I can click to interact with this particular dashboard. Okay, so if I click to interact with it, it doesn't matter where I am. I could be in the UK, I could be in the US, I could be in Australia, anywhere in the world, and I can interact with this dashboard that this gentleman has built. If I want to see data for the month of January, I can click on only January and the report would respond. I want to see for January and February, I click January and February, I can see the data for only January and February. Click on March, click on April, click on May, and I can see the data, the dashboard responding. The interesting thing is everybody here on the call today can do the same thing. Even if you've never ever heard about it before, you can do exactly what you see on the screen within the space of 2 months. 8 weeks, you'll be building amazing dashboards like this, using tools like Power BI, Excel, and embedded with AI. This is how you gain work experience. Okay, and when you do this, organizations will see you, their confidence to approach you, because on your LinkedIn profile, you've indicated that you've worked with this company in Canada. and they reach out to you, you get it, you get an interview. And more importantly, when you get that interview, they would want to validate that you are who you say you are. And they would also come for a reference. And I'll show you what that reference looks like. Okay, so we've touched on 3 things today. We have 2 more to go. Olusegun got into a high demand career path. He learned high demand skills that were eligible for remote jobs. Number 2, he learned the skills the right way. How? By learning in a project-based environment and showcasing his work in a portfolio. I showed you what a portfolio looks like, interactive portfolio. Number 3, he gained work experience, foreign work experience, by listing Analytics as part of his work experience because of the project he has completed, and also he had evidence for those projects. Number 4, he knew exactly where to apply and how to apply. I had a session with a group of people yesterday, and I was telling them, if you want to get a job, remote job, if any of you here, is there any of you here today applying to get remote jobs from Lagos, Nigeria? Give me a thumbs up. I'd like to know. Is there anyone trying to get remote jobs from Nigeria? Give me a thumbs up. Fantastic, a lot of you. Now, Joy, Edam, Victor, Joyce, Martins, brilliant. If you're trying to get remote jobs and all you are doing is applying on job boards, you're applying on job boards, remote job boards, give me a thumbs up. So you have job boards, you have flex jobs, you have built-in, you have job gather, you have so many job boards. There's so many of them. I'll share some of them with you today. If that's what you're doing, give me a thumbs up. Now, let me break the news to you. If this is all you are doing, you only have a 40% chance of landing that job. Only a 40% chance. And you are more likely not going to get that job compared to somebody using a different strategy. Okay, so I held a session yesterday in our mentorship session, and that session is, I'm going to show you what the session is all about. Just give me 1 second and I'll show you that session. Oh, yeah, so I'll show you what the session is all about. Okay, the session was specifically on getting remote jobs. Okay, so it was our mentorship session. This happened yesterday, Thursday. Mentorship session, Canada remote job strategy. So what you tend to realize is, or what I've found out is, a lot of people apply to jobs. They go on job boards, on LinkedIn, so many job boards, and they apply. You're not going to get that job. Okay, it's almost guaranteed. You have a 40% chance of getting that job. And the reason is very simple. You're competing with the citizens of that country. You're competing with immigrants in that country. You're competing with permanent residents, temporary residents, refugees who are on they have open work permits, and they are also competing for those jobs. You're going to struggle to get the job. There's a different strategy to implement. So if I click on this link, this is your LMS, okay? If I click on this link, it shows the session I took yesterday, where I walked about 100+ people. So that's me right there. Okay, I walked about 100+ people on the strategy to get remote jobs in Canada. Okay, and it has worked like magic for so many people. Okay, so it's a mentorship session, Canada remote job strategy, and you see that other 60%. If you are applying to job boards and you're also utilizing this strategy, you have at least a 90% chance of landing the job. If all you are doing is just applying, I tell you for free, you're not going to get that job. Okay, or if you're lucky, 40% chance of landing the job. There are far better ways of approaching it. So this is how our strategy sessions, our mentorship sessions play out. And somebody asked the question yesterday after this mentorship that this information is not everywhere, okay? I can't get this information somewhere else. And I said, absolutely. You can't, simply because people don't know. You only know what you know. And for somebody who have lived across different regions before, currently reside in Canada, how to get organizations to interview you based on the skills that you have. It's easy peasy for you to get that done. And that was what I discussed in that session. And that's exactly what Olusegun knew. Olusegun knew that, look, I'm not going to get the job by just applying. I'll get the job by applying and by doing something else. Okay. So how did Olusegun apply to jobs? He knew where to apply. Okay, the job boards to apply to. A lot of you applying on job boards, you have different job boards you apply to. That's part of it. Okay, like Outlier, JobGether, Micro One, Built-in, Remote Rocket Ship, and so on and so forth. And of course, this is where we make the difference. Okay, job boards that are exclusive to specific type of organizations, and also strategies outside applying to jobs. So this time around, they're not applying to those jobs. In fact, the jobs are not even advertised, but you get the organization to interview you for the skills you have and the role you want to get in that company. Okay, so when you know where to apply, you know how to apply, you know how to tap into the hidden job market. Okay, the hidden job market. That's where you stand a higher chance of landing the job. All right, and that's exactly what Olusegun knew how to do. The last strategy for what Olusegun knew how to do to get that job was he had an organization that could provide a reference for him. Remember, I said you're going to list Analytics as part of your work experience. When an organization gives you an offer, they'll come to validate the skills you have. Are you legitimate? Are you who you say you are? Do you have the skills you say you can use? So they'll ask us to provide a reference for you, and we go ahead to provide the reference. And this is what a reference looks like. This is a reference from the NHS in the UK. They hired this particular gentleman, Ahmed, as a health informatics support worker. Ahmed had completed a data analytics program with us. So they reached out to us to say, hello, Adeza. Hello, Mr. Adeza Suleiman. The above named has been offered the post of health informatics support worker and has given permission for us to approach you for a reference. I would be grateful if you could let me have your opinion regarding his suitability for this post by completing the attached reference request form. So this is the NHS, the largest recruiter in the public sector in the UK, reaching out to say, we want a reference for Ahmed. Ahmed is a Nigerian who got a job with the NHS, and the NHS wants to validate his skills. This is what your reference would look like. Every organization would ask for a reference. Okay? Every organization would ask for a reference. So when you've learned the right way, number one, you've gotten the right skills that are eligible for remote jobs. That's not enough. You need to learn the skills the right way by working in a project-based environment and by creating a portfolio to showcase the skills you have. That's still not enough. Number three, you need to gain foreign work experience to show that organization in the country that I have experience working in that country, working for a company in that country. Number four, you need to know where to apply and how to apply. If you're applying on only job boards, rest assured you're not going to get that job fast. It will take you a lot of time because the chances of you getting that job is just 40%. You are missing out on 60%. When you know where to apply and how to apply, when you get an offer and you can't get a reputable organization to provide a reference on your behalf, guess what? You won't get hired. So these are the 5 strategies that Olusegun had to put into play to ensure that he was able to land that job. And of course, Analytics is also accredited by the CPD in the UK and also the American Council of Training and Development in the US. So the links to these accreditations are They are here. If you get the slide at the end of the day, you click on the link, it takes you to the CPD website, for example. You see it, analytics and so on. It also takes you to the American Council of Training and Development, and you get to see what the ACTD is also talking about, and so on and so forth. Okay, and this is exactly what you get. High quality, high standard accredited programs, and these accreditations would be on your certificate as well. Okay, now let's go back. We almost forgot about the presentation from Notebook LM. So let's go back and see what Notebook LM has generated. So it has generated something for us. I'm going to click on that and let's see what our presentation looks like. So if I click on it, you can see the presentation. Okay, I can now download this presentation. I can download. If I click on share, I can download. I can click on this and I can download as PowerPoint. I can download as a PDF, or I can present directly from Notebook LM. So I have done my analysis with bricks. Now I want to present to management. I can download this. Let's download as PowerPoint. Okay. So I click on download PowerPoint. It downloads it for me. And I'm going to open it up and let's see what it looks like. And I'll present it. Okay. So I've downloaded and this is what it looks like. Okay. So clinical correlates of hospital admission longevity. All right. And you can start to see a typical patient stays are stable and short across general wards. Okay, a localized subset of prolonged admission dictates upper limit capacity. So you can start to read and see what you've gotten from Notebook LM. Okay, so you can start to look at this. This is the presentation you make to management. At the macro level, median patient stays demonstrates historical and systemic stability. Okay, you summarize and you go ahead to make your presentation. All right, extreme length of stay is not widespread. It is highly concentrated in a specific rightward skew. Okay, and you get to see all of this. Oncology, you can see oncology highlighted. We saw that in the reporting. Oncology drives the extreme upper limit of capacity. Okay, exhibiting roughly double the length of stay of most departments. And you can see that right there. And as you go on, you can see the different presentations. You can see cancer and tumor. You can see the impact of oncology, the impact of neurology. You can see that right there. They both exhibit the longest length of stay, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you go through everything, and at the end of the day, you have your recommendation. Okay, so this is showing you a pathway of a patient comes in, you know, if they have cancer and tumor, they go to oncology. They have stroke or seizure, they go to neurology. They are assigned the ICU, private room, and at the end of the day, they stay for about 19 to 20 days. All right, so where are the bottlenecks and how can we address this pathway to make it more efficient and people don't have to stay so long? I want us to see what the recommendation we have gotten, what recommendation looks like. So let's go back and let's see the recommendation. Okay, so optimal implication for capacity and resource planning. Number one, trust the baseline. Continue utilizing the highly stable 4 to 5 day median for the standard general ward. Okay, treat oncology and neurology as distinct capacity ecosystem. And of course, ring fence high acuity bed. Acknowledge that ICU and private beds will disproportionately absorb the longest clinical stay. Optimize discharge protocols specifically for high acuity bottlenecks. You start to break this down and you make your presentation. And this is Notebook LM generating the report for you automatically. Okay, you didn't have to do it yourself. Notebook LM generated it automatically for you. And that's the beauty of utilizing AI-based tools. You get job done, job that should take so long for you to get done, you get it done a lot faster. All right, and that's the beauty. Okay, so I'm going to show you what 10AB, what we do for you, and how you can get started, because that's one thing I promised we've not yet touched on. Okay, let me know if you can still see me. I think something went blank. If you can see me, you can hear me. Okay, fantastic. All right, so I'm going to summarize everything, and then we start to take questions and answers. One of the first things you need to do is learn. Okay, so you join one of the programs, the generative AI for data analytics, generative AI for project management, business analysis, generative AI for HR analysts. And then we package you. So after you learn, what we do for you is to package. We show you how to gain work experience. We revamp your CV for you, optimize your LinkedIn profile, show you how to create a portfolio, like I've shown you already. You have your mentorship session. I showed you the mentorship session we had yesterday. It was a session on how to get organizations to hire you in Canada while you live in Africa, it's somewhere in Lagos, Nigeria. And when you get those opportunities, we prepare you for your interviews. And when you get an offer, we provide you with a job reference. So when you join one of the programs to learn, we package you. Finally, we show you where and how to apply. And this is where I dare say you get the most value. Where to apply, tapping into the paid and hidden job markets, the paid job boards. We make these jobs available. We send these jobs to you for you to go ahead and apply. So you're not applying randomly to different job boards that have been giving you, no results. You have job boards that give you results. We vet these jobs. We know these are the jobs you can do. We send them to you. And we show you a better strategy rather than just applying, and how to get these companies to approach you for interviews. And that is what gets you the job. You learn, join one of the programs, you package, which is presenting and positioning you as the best candidate for the job. You apply, different approach, different strategies, and that's what gets you the job. Okay, and I think I showed you what the LMS looks like, the learning management system. I'll go there one more time. I'll just show you what it looks like briefly, and then I'll come back to tell you exactly what you need to do to get started. So this is your LMS. In your LMS, you have your dashboard. You'd see the program you've registered for. You've registered for the AI, business analysis, or project management. You can join your classroom right from here, and you can go ahead and watch your videos any day, anytime. Okay? So on a Monday, on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, in the afternoon, in the evening, you have a few 30 minutes to spare. You can come in here, click on your video, and watch and practice along. And then on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., you have a live class. And for the mentorship sessions, all you have to do is you go to your classroom, you go to the different classes, and then you see your mentorship sessions. You can come in here and rewatch as many times as you want. Okay, this is what the LMS looks like. Now, our next cohort starts tomorrow on Saturday, the 6th of June. So for those of you that are here today, you are here, I would say this is an inflection point for you, because the next cohort starts in a couple of hours, and you have the opportunity to join the next cohort starting in a couple of hours. But before we go ahead and do that, because a lot of you gave me the thumbs up that you're applying to jobs, trying to get jobs remotely, and so on and so forth. And I want to ask you this question. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Are you fine being where you are? Do you want to move into new skills, move into a new role, apply to jobs that you think would give you better opportunities? I want you to type into the chat. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Yes or no? Mr. Dio says no. Michael, no. Abdul Karim, no. Raphael, Oluwatosin, Benjamin. We all want more. Okay, we all want better. We all want to get better jobs. We all want to do better in terms of our earning capacity, make more money, upskill, compete for the best jobs, even though you don't want to leave the country, okay? Even though you're back in Nigeria. And even when you decide to leave, for those of you that leave, the question is, and a lot of people make this mistake, they want to leave. I had a conversation with somebody the other day and he was telling me, oh, I intend to travel. And I said, okay, what will you do when you go to the UK? He's planning to move to the UK. He said, oh, he's learning how to cut hair. He's a barber. He heard that if you learn how to cut hair or you learn how to make hair as a lady, you'd make a lot of money. And I just, smiled. That's one of the worst ways to start your journey in a new country. And a lot of people make this mistake. And the information you have determines how far you go. Okay, the information you have determines how far you go. The best way to get the best type of jobs, whether you want to work remotely or you want to move to that country, is to have the skills to compete for the best type of jobs in that region. When I moved to the UK, I got my job in 1 month after moving to the UK. Why? Because I had the skills of a data analyst, and I got a job as a customer insights analyst when I moved to the UK. So you are not comfortable where you are. What do you need to do? What's the next step? The next step is to start the journey into a better career. And that starts from all the things I've said today, the 5 strategies. Number 1, learn the high demand skills. That was exactly what Pavel did. Pavel is a Cameroonian. Pavel currently works as a healthcare data analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians in Tucson, Arizona, in the US. That was exactly what Judith did. Judith was a care worker, a carer. For those of you that know what a carer does, a carer takes care of people that can't take care of themselves. So elderly people, and so on and so forth. That's what the carer does. So Judith worked as a carer in the UK, but she didn't want to do that anymore. So what did she do? She came to us, she upskilled in business analysis, and today, Judith currently lives in the UK and works for a company in the US remotely. And so many other professionals like that. Same with Bukola. Bukola was in HR back in Nigeria. Today, Bukola is a data business analyst with a company in the US. And she got this job last year in July 2025. And so many other professionals. All right. So you're not comfortable where you are. These are people like you. And I tell you for free, they had no clue. They had no idea. They didn't know what to do to get started. But they took that step, which is upskilling, making the first step to a career path that was going to be profitable for them. Okay. Our next cohort starts tomorrow, like I mentioned, June 6th, 2026. If you want to be in our very first live class tomorrow, where you start to understand how to work on projects, utilize and learn skills in any area regarding AI, the area you decided to choose, you have the opportunity to do that tomorrow. Now, because we are so close to the end of the cohort, or the beginning of the cohort, I beg your pardon, close to the end of registration and the beginning of the cohort, I have a few slots left for people who want to join. I can't take everybody in today. I can't take all the 60 people on the call. I can only take 10 people. All right. So we have a discount. I have a massive discount for those of you who will be looking to start your journey. The full amount to start tomorrow in any of the 3 programs I've highlighted: generative AI for data analytics, generative AI for business analysis and project management, and generative AI for the HR analyst, is 250,000 naira. But we have a discount for just 10 people, where instead of paying 250, you get to pay just 150,000. So the 40% discount. And in addition to that, you don't have to make the full payment in one full swoop. You can make an initial payment of 50,000 to get into class tomorrow. Again, it's just for the first 10 people who'll be registering. And these are the serious people that want to get started. So if you want to get started, you want to start your journey, registration ends today, new class starts tomorrow. You want to be a part of that program, you can join that program. Okay, and all you have to do, I'll show you how to get started just for the first 10 people. And the most important thing is you want to claim your slots now. All right, because tomorrow 10 a.m. your time, you have a class starting and you can participate in that class. I have something extra for, out of the 10 people, I have something extra for 5 of you. So the first 5 people that will register to join the class starting on the 6th of June, you'd have a free job strategy, remote job strategy session with me. Okay, how to get jobs in Canada. If you know anybody who attended the one from yesterday, just ask them how it went and they'll tell you how phenomenal it was. All right, and I'll have that session with you and I'll show you the other 60% that you're currently not considering and how you can be a part of that, know the strategy and start applying to jobs that way. And when you do that, you realize that what you've been doing, just applying to jobs or job boards, have been a waste of time. Okay, so this would only come for 5 people, the first 5 people that would register, and 10 people would get the discount. Okay, so we have just 10 slots for those of you who want to start. Somebody's asking, can I pay 3 times? Yes, and that's what I said earlier. You have the opportunity to also make payments in 3 installments. So instead of paying 150K once, you pay 50K to start, 50K before the end of the month, and another 50K next month. So you can pay 3 times. Okay, so I'll show you what to do. My colleagues would share the link in the chat right now. So once you click on the link, it takes you to the page. Once you click on the link, it's going to take you to this page. Okay, so I'll show you exactly what you'll see. So once you click on the link, it takes you to this page. Okay, so I'm just going to have to sign in. So it takes you to this page. Oops, sorry. I don't think I need to sign in yet. So it takes you to this page. What you want to do is to go to all the AI programs. So once you go to the programs, you can see AI. I highlighted 3 programs for you today. AI for the data analysts, AI for the HR analysts, and I also highlighted AI for the business analyst and project manager. That's what you have to do. Click on any of the programs. Say, I'm interested, I'm in HR, but I want to upskill in HR, or I want to get a job as an AI HR analyst or AI data analyst. I click on enroll, and the moment I click on enroll, you enter your full name, you enter your email, you enter your phone number, your password, and you create an account. And the moment you create an account, you will be able to go ahead and make your payments. I'm going to sign in with Google. Okay, so try to sign up with Google. And when you sign up with Google, you create an account. And once you create an account, you'll see where you have the opportunity. If you want to make a one-time payment, you also get additional discount. Remember, the full amount is 250K, but you have the discounted fee of 150K. But if you make a payment once, instead of paying in 3 installments, for example, instead of paying 50, 50, 50, which is 150, you get to pay just 120. So you save additional 30K. Very affordable, very straightforward. All I need to do is come in here, click on choose my payment plan, and I can select. I can either make a one-time payment of 120, or I can simply make 3 installments of 50,000 times 3. So this is flexible. For those of you that want a flexible payment, you don't want to break the bank in order to start your journey. You can do that, 50K to start, and then you make the subsequent payments afterward. And it doesn't matter where you are. You can pay in Ghana, you're in the UK, you are anywhere in the world. All you need to do is select your currency and go ahead and click on start with 50K. And when you do that, you will go ahead and make your payments. And once you've made payment, just take a screenshot of the confirmation and send a message to this number. But once you complete payment, you get automatically redirected to your dashboard. The same dashboard I showed you. You get redirected to the dashboard. You'll get an email confirmation, and you'd also have the opportunity to join the WhatsApp group. Okay, so that's how you start your journey today. Because I told you at the beginning of this session that by the end, you would know what it takes for you to start your journey today. From what to do step by step to starting the journey, and you keep that ball rolling. And if you have any questions or you've made payments, just send a DM. Okay, send a DM to this number. Somebody confirms your payment and ensures you get into class tomorrow, 10 a.m. West African time. All right, I'm going to take questions for those of you that have questions for me before we call it a day and wrap up our session. Okay, Flourish is saying, God who will sponsor me. Don't worry, Flourish. You'll find a sponsor. All you need to do, make a first payment of 50 that gets you into class, and then you can get, sponsorship maybe later with the second and the third payment. Okay, so the most important thing is getting into class tomorrow. All right, I'm going to take a breather at this point, and I'll take questions. So if you have questions for me, please feel free to ask your questions before we call it a day. All right, Falake Karim has a question. Falake, how are you doing today? Where are you joining us from, Falake? And go ahead and ask a question. Hi, Falake, go ahead and unmute yourself. Okay. Let me see. Falake's hand is up. Falake, you are still muted. So maybe if you are struggling to unmute, what you can do is send a message in the chat, and then I'll pick up your question from there. Okay. What I want you to also do is I want you to connect with me. Okay, connect with me. Go on.
Can you hear me
LinkedIn.
now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you, Falake. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know what went wrong. Thank you for this meeting. It's very, very insightful for me. I've been your student for over 2 years now, from FA to now data science, and I want to do AI automation also now. My question is, because I'm confused, is there a difference between AI automation engineering and AI business analytics and project management? That's my question. And what is the difference?
AI automation engineering is you're not working on specific. As a business analyst, your focus is on processes, improving processes, and so on and so forth. And as a project manager, you are focused on managing projects, helping organizations bring that project to life. Okay? And what you get to learn is how to use AI tools to optimize your processes a lot faster. How to use AI tools to analyze your project deliverables a lot faster. If you need to present or do your daily drop-in sessions or your project updates, and you need to generate your reports to present to management, how do you use an AI tool in Jira called Rovo, for example, to quickly, just all you need to do is type in a prompt into Rovo, and Rovo generates a dashboard of all the projects you're working on, and so on and so forth. And you make that presentation to management. Okay, but as a project manager, what you're doing is managing projects. Business analysts are optimizing processes. Now, as an AI automation engineer, what you're doing is automating specific workflows within organizations. And I'll give you an example. It's good you're very familiar with what we do at Analytics. So we have interview preparation, for example, okay, where if you have an interview, you click on a link, you enter your details, you book an interview prep, and somebody will join the call to prep you for an interview. So one of the problems we had was we needed to know the interview preps that happened and the ones that did not happen. So in a week, if 10 students booked interview preps, how many interview preps happened? Did 10 interviews happen? 10 interview preps happen? Or did 8 happen? We wanted to know this. So what did we do? An AI automation engineer would look at that process and create an automation flow that would connect to the calendar, know how many sessions are meant to hold. When those meetings start, it will join those meetings, extract the meeting notes to summarize what happened during those meetings. And at the end of those, interview preps, it would summarize and tell you, okay, 10 interview preps were scheduled. Out of the 10 interview preps, 10 happened. So all the interview preps happened. And in one interview prep, there was maybe something like there was a student who had a challenge because she felt that the interview was too sudden or the interview is too close and she doesn't have enough time to prepare. You get all those automations and reports into your email, maybe every Monday or every Tuesday. That's what an AI automation engineer will do. So your role is not specific to process optimization. It's not specific to projects in delivering updates, but you look at workflows, what's going on in this process, how can we make from this to that, connect it together and even make it a lot better in terms of the outcome. So that's one particular task that we had to use an automation to address. Just to give you an example, and I'll give you another one internally that we also use internally at Analytics. So one of the things we also want to know, we want to know students that are at risk. Okay, at risk students. And what does this mean? It means students that are likely going to drop off. And how do we determine that a student is at risk? Very simple. If you missed 2 classes consecutively and you've not joined the mentorship session, the following mentorship session, we tag you at risk. So every Friday, there is a bot that sends a report to say, this student with this name, with this email, this phone number, joining from the UK is at risk because they have missed 1 class, they've missed the subsequent class, and they also did not join the mentorship session. All right, so that's an automation that an AI automation engineer would build to help the business know, instead of doing that manually by looking at attendance reports manually every single day. You create an automation that helps you do that. And all you do is you get the reports, you see the list, and you can start reaching out to those students to say, hey, you missed class, you missed the second class, what's going on, and so on and so forth. I don't know if that helps to explain the different roles.
It's clear, because I want to know which one I can do between, because I was thinking of AI automation because I'm an economics, I'm a researcher, and we have different research protocol, from doing the questionnaire, collecting data, so it's a form of workflow. Then you start doing your data analysis, then you do your economic analysis, then you do your slide, you present. So in that context now, what can you advise me? Because I don't want again that I will come again next day. I want this kind of the final one now, which is generative AI course. Which one can I do between the two? That's my way I'm driving at.
You're an economist.
Yeah.
Listening to what you said, I would not recommend AI automation engineering. But let me ask you one question to decide on what you should do. What program did you do earlier with us?
Currently, I'm doing data science, full stack.
Full stack data science.
Yes.
Okay.
I did FA last year.
You did FA. I'd say go for the AI automation engineering.
Okay, thank you.
That'll be a good way for you to continue and upskill with your current skills at the moment.
All right, thank you.
Right. You're welcome, Folake. Okay. Thanks for that, Folake. So just before I take the next question, sorry for the gentleman saying he's been waiting for 10 minutes. Sorry about that. I want you to also go on LinkedIn and follow me on LinkedIn. All right, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you go on LinkedIn and type Adeza Suleiman, you'll see me right there. Okay, connect with me and let's engage. Okay, very important. Also follow Analytics Business The reason is you get to see a lot of the amazing stuff that we do, and you can easily connect to what we do. This was me in, this was about 2 weeks ago in Vancouver where we did the Web Summit. That's me right there. That's the co-founder, Efemina, as well. We were together at the Web Summit. Amazing, amazing event, and so on. Okay, so that's something I'll be expecting from those of you that will be starting and those of you that also want be joining. But again, like I said, the most important thing you want to do is get your journey started. Okay, and in 2 months, what can happen in 2 months would amaze you. I've sent you a connect, Abdul Karim. I'm going to accept that immediately I'm done with this session. Okay. Let me see. Abdul Karim is saying, please, the portal is here to confirm my payment. Okay, but you made payments. No problem at all, Abdul Karim. All you need to do is send a message to this WhatsApp or any of my colleagues on the call. I have my colleagues, Uche is here, Zuleha is here. They would help you out with that. Okay, let me take a question from Ude Stanley Williams. Okay. Hi, Stanley. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm very well. Oh, good evening.
Good evening. Where are you joining from?
I'm based in Lagos, but I'm joining from Enugu anyway. Should be in Lagos by the weekend.
All right, fantastic. What's your question for me today?
Yeah, I earlier asked a question via the chat. I was the one that was asking, apart from the AI in data analysis, what other tools should we be? What other tools should we be learning in data analysis? Because from my observation, if you are not actually grounded in terms of having the fundamentals of data analysis, I believe that going for AI in data analysis will be a problem for a layman who doesn't understand data analysis. Okay, and I'm into supply chain. And my office, we deal with a whole lot of data, and the kind of data we deal with has nothing to do with presentation. You come up with a very big data, it starts cleaning up, okay, using query, import range, and other functions. Okay, so you need to understand the fundamentals in data analysis before going into AI, because if you apparently don't know what you are doing, you wouldn't know how to query AI, to get the result you wanted, So that's why I'm asking, because I myself, I want to go granular in data analysis. Okay, so that was why I joined this session to understand, is it Tableau, SQL, Python, and the rest, Excel and the rest. Do you understand me? Yeah. So apart from AI in data analysis, are we going to learn other tools, or are we just learning AI in data analysis? Okay, thank you.
All right, brilliant question, Mr. Stanley. So what you'd learn in the generative AI for data analytics, you'd learn Excel, you'd learn SQL, you'd learn Power BI, and Microsoft Fabric. These are the core tools you would learn that are data analytics related, okay? But you don't start by learning tools. You start by understanding, your very first class would be on what is data, understanding the fundamentals. What is data? What are the different types of data? What is big data? What are the 5 V's of big data, and so on and so forth, okay? And then you move into Excel. Now, if you are to learn Excel, SQL, Power BI from the way I learned Excel, SQL, Power BI about 12 years ago, it's not going to take you 2 months to learn. You'll probably take far longer than that to learn. Okay, you'd learn maybe in the next 3-4 months on the average. However, what you will do with Excel, like I mentioned earlier, in terms of reporting, in terms of analysis, you don't need to do all those things anymore, because AI can do the job for you. All right. And I ask myself the question, if AI can write my queries, give me optimized queries I had written myself, perhaps it would take me maybe 1 hour to figure out how to optimize, from writing my sub queries to writing different Windows functions and so on and so forth. If AI can generate those queries for me, then why should I take so long in writing my queries anymore? All right. But the fundamentals when it comes to understanding how to use Excel, understanding how to create a pivot table, for example, in Excel, understanding how to generate a chart in Excel, and so on and so forth. You would learn all those things. But would you learn the details of you manually building a dashboard yourself? No, because it's highly unnecessary. Okay, would you learn how to manually build a dashboard on Power BI today by yourself? Create your data model by yourself? No, because you can do all those things automatically. But what you would learn is what a data model is. What you'd learn is what a pivot table is, what a dashboard is on Excel. But do you have to learn how to build those things manually? No. Okay. Polake asked the question the other time when she talked about getting data, research data, and so on and so forth. And I give examples of how you can also use of practical automation that we use internally and so on. So those things can be done manually. All right. Where you have Google Sheets, and you have attendance records from all the students and so on and so forth. And what you are doing is to see the students that attended and those that did not attend. And you start to get their details, maybe using a VLOOKUP to get their details. And when you use VLOOKUP to get their details, their phone number, their emails, you can now start reaching out to them. And when you reach out to them, you have a status column beside it to say, whatever conversation you had, maybe student currently has extra workload and won't be attending class next week. But why do I have to go through all that stress of going to learn how to use Google Sheets to do all those things when a tool like N8N can do that for me? Okay, so to answer your question, Stanley, if I want to learn data analytics the way I learned it 10 years ago, 12 years ago, it will take me about 5 to 6 months for me to learn all those tools. And I would learn Excel, I would learn SQL, I would learn Power BI, and I would also learn Microsoft Fabric, in addition to Tableau. And that's all the only Tableau is not here in terms of the tools you need to learn as a data analyst. And the reason why Tableau is not here is simply because Power BI is here. And Power BI and Tableau are business intelligence tools. And if you know how to use Power BI, Tableau is a walk in the park for you when it comes to reporting. And if I know Power BI, I know Julius. Julius AI can do my dashboarding. Bricks AI can do my dashboarding. I can also create Power BI reports in Microsoft Fabric and even automate it. Then I don't need to learn an additional business intelligence tool. Okay, so is you taking the way we learned 10 years ago and the way you would learn today, it's totally different from what it used to be. And knowing how to use AI to do stuff today is the way to go. Okay, so that's the answer to the question I'll give to you, Stanley. Okay, so this is what you would learn in terms of the tools and the technologies, but you'd learn how to use these tools and technologies by implementing AI. So all the things that are unnecessary for you to learn, because AI can do them for you, why bother learning? And the mistake people always make is this. And from what I heard you say, you are tilting towards that direction a little bit. There are people that have the belief that AI would make human beings dumber, or would make us less intelligent because would not do so much writing anymore, would not do so much calculations anymore. Everything is pretty much available to us at the type of keyboard or the click of a button. And I asked the question, before Google became available, the library was where we go to do research. And we get books from the library, we sit down for hours upon hours to research, and we type out what we have or what we've been able to research. Did human beings get smarter as time went on, or did we get dumber or less intelligent over the last 10 years? I dare say we have gotten far more intelligent than we were 10 years ago, looking at the new things, new technologies people are building today. And the reason is simple. You can do things faster. I don't need to go to the library to research. I have Google. I have Google, I have ChatGPT. I don't need to sit down and summarize myself when I have tools that can summarize for me. And all I need to do is to read the summary, understand what it's all about, and I can move on with that. Okay, so I don't know if that answers your question, Stanley, but that's the approach I'll take that from. Okay, so these are the tools specifically that you need to learn. The only other tool that is not here for a data analyst is Tableau, and you don't need Tableau when you have Julius, Bricks, and Power BI. And I've worked as a data analyst for over a decade, and I can tell you for free, when it comes to large amounts of data and so on, big data and so on and so forth, having all these tools, there is no data in any industry or any sector that you can't handle and analyze. All right. Okay, so I'll take more questions. We have any more from the chat? So out of the 10 slots I have, 6 slots are gone already. I have just 4 slots left. And for the slots for those that are applying to jobs or want to apply to remote jobs in Canada specifically, okay, I have 2 more slots left. Okay, so how do you take advantage of the discounts? Once again, once you click on the link, it takes you to where you can register. All you have to do is select your preferred payment plan and you get that opportunity. Abdul Karim is asking, hope I'm among. Absolutely, Abdul Karim, you're one of the first people to pay, so definitely you will be among. Okay, so before we wrap up our session today, something I also want to share is one of the things we don't do so well is we don't communicate information to the people that we think would need that information, right? So if you have a friend, you have a colleague, you have a brother, you have a sister that you think this would benefit, share it with them, get them on board. Okay, there was somebody who joined a session like this. He had a job. He wasn't looking to land a job. I'll see if I can remember his brother's name, Christian. I can't remember the surname, but I'll check for it and I'll show you. Okay. I'll look for the guy and I'll show you. His elder brother joined a session like this, and his brother didn't need a job, but his brother knew that he had a younger brother that needed that job, and he paid for his younger brother to join. His younger brother joined our data analytics program. His name is Christian, but I'm looking for his surname. I'll get his surname, and I want to show you the post that he made when he got the job. He joined us at the age of 17. He joined us at the age of 17, and he got a job in the same Nigeria where there are no jobs. He got a job at the age of 18 as a data processor, and analyst. Okay, I'm going to get his name, and I want to show you before I leave. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if you know somebody, you have a younger brother, you have a sister, you have a cousin, you know somebody that can benefit from this, share the message with them and get them on board. So his name is Christian Adeshola. I found him. I'm going to share my slide. Okay, yes, you can see my slide. So that's Christian Adeshola. I'll drop the link as well on my slide so that you can go back and read. So Christian, if you read what he wrote right here, against all odds, landed a tech role at the age of 18. Okay, so he talked about how his senior brother, who has always encouraged him, registered for a data analytics program with analytics. He talked about all the things he learned, just like what you asked Stanley. He learned Excel, he learned SQL, he learned Power BI, and he also added Tableau. Okay, and long story short, it's a long story. You can read the story, but how did he end? To my surprise and joy, I was offered the role. Getting my first data job at just the age of 18. Okay. And he posted the screenshot of the job offer as a data processor and analyst. And of course, I gave him a thumbs up. That's me right there. And everybody at Analytics, it was super amazing. I can see the number of engagements he got and 196 comments. Okay, so share the message. If you know somebody that can benefit from this, share the message with them and get them on board. And like I said, let's connect on LinkedIn and you keep the conversation going. So Flourish is saying, hi Adeza, thank you so much. I do have a question. Which of the AI courses would you advise someone? So what I want you to do, you're not entirely sure of what you want to do. Someone in the health sector, if you're in the healthcare sector, it's a no-brainer. You go for the generative AI for data analytics. Okay, go for the generative AI for data analytics. That's what I recommend if you're in healthcare. Okay, because you can start to look at roles in healthcare reporting analysts. Which one of us, our participant got? Pavel. Okay, Pavel works as a healthcare data and reporting analyst in the US. And prior to that, Pavel works with us. We don't call you students, we call you consultants. Okay, so he worked with us at Analytics as a data analyst. So he joined our data analytics program essentially. And today he works as a healthcare data and reporting analyst. So that's a role you can also get into, Flourish. Okay. I'll take one more question before we call it a day. And I think Stanley has another question for me. Oh, Flourish said she had a glitch. So Flourish, I was suggesting that you go for the AI data analytics program, if you can hear me. Okay, that's what I'll recommend. And I will show you somebody who got a job as a healthcare data and reporting analyst. Okay, and what he did with us was data analytics. And what he does for the Arizona community physicians is very simple. He takes their records, their medical records, and he analyzes them. That's pretty much what he does. I prepped him for his interview. I helped him negotiate when he, got his offer to negotiate his salary. And that's Pavel. Okay, so I'll take one more question and then we'll call it a day for today. We've had a very long day. Okay, so Stanley, I think you have one more question for me. Please go ahead. Let me help you.
Yeah, sorry. I think my battery is almost going off.
That's
In terms of the deliverables, what are the mode again, please? The mode of learning.
You have your live classes on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So it's a live class where you join a class like this. So maybe we are 20 in a class or 25 in a class, and then we are solving problems together. So if we are working with a data set, you'd have the data. I would be your teacher having the data set as well, and then we'd work together. So I do a step, I take a step, I solve this, I do this, you also follow and do the same. Okay, now that's your live practical class on Saturdays. This is where you have the opportunity to ask questions, to stop and say, I think I'm getting it wrong, I didn't get exactly what you said, and so on and so forth. Now, during the week, after your class on Saturday, you also need to dedicate at least 1 to 2 hours per week to go back to your LMS, your learning management system. So that's your self-paced part of the program. So this is where you go back to your LMS, you watch your pre-recorded videos and you practice along. Now, these videos are important for you to understand what you do in the live class. So if you don't watch your pre-recorded video from Sunday to Friday, for example, and you come to a class on Saturday, you might look lost because you've not done the prerequisites. Okay, so that's the mode of the learning you get to participate in. So you have your self-paced, and then you have your live classes. But the live classes happens only on Saturdays. All right. Does that answer your question, Stanley?
Okay. 6th, tomorrow is my birthday anyway.
Wow, happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Okay. See you guys by tomorrow. Thanks.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for that, Stanley. I'm not sure I have any other question. How do I log in? Okay, Raphael, don't forget, just make a note of this number, send a message, and somebody would address you. Address every single question that you have. When is the next cohort? So we have cohorts every month, Flourish. Unfortunately, the discount is not always on every single month. So you might come next month, the month of July, to join the July cohort, but you have to pay $250 instead of the $150. Okay, so that's just the difference with a different cohort. But we have cohorts month on month from January to December, and we've been doing this for the past 6 years. Okay. All right, so I think at this point we'll call it a day. You had an amazing time today. Just give me a thumbs up in the chats. Give a thumbs up or type in anything, your favorite emoji, if you've had an amazing time in today's session. Fantastic. All right, so enjoy the rest of the evening. For those of you starting your journey, I look forward to working with you and helping you achieve your desired outcome. So see you tomorrow in class on Saturday, and have an amazing weekend ahead of you. And happy birthday once again, Stanley.